What's up, everybody? Welcome to Theology in the Dirt. Here at Theology in the Dirt, we try to practice our theology in the public square of our homes, our city, and our world. You can check out the website at theologyinthedirt.com for some blogs, some sermon notes, links to the podcast, and an incredibly cool merch store. We're glad you're with us. My name's Mitchell Jolly.
I'm Chris Hayes.
John Palmer.
How about we shake and bake?
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake! Shake and then bake! Shake and bake!
Shake and bake.
It's shake and bake time. Shake and bake, buddy! Shake it before you bake it!
All right. Hey, man, check out the new digs, y'all. How cool is this? The master set designer, the executive producer, Christopher Hayes, is killing it on the site. Well done, man. Yeah. It's looking good.
Came out well. We got some more things to add, and we accept gifts. So if you want something that's TID related and want it, or theology or church related or us related, hey, if you give it to us, we might just put it in the studio behind us.
I notice we've got to get up Nathan Meek's footprint reindeer that I won at a Dirty Santa party.
Go up before next time.
Yeah, it's going to go up next time. I'm fired up about that.
Love
going
looking
in
at
there.
that.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, our guy is an incredible artist. Well done. It's beautiful. It's good.
I like the sign.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that sign is
that neon
killer.
sign is legit.
Yeah,
dude. That's incredible. And so, hey, who knows, man? Maybe if you want one of those, we could work out a deal where you pay us lots of money. And we send you a Theology in the Dirt sign. We have sponsors, That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have a gold level sponsor, and we give you a gold neon Theology in the Dirt or something like that. How cool would that be?
Like Austin Powers.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Won't write checks that you can't cash. So be careful what you promise.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Hey, gosh, man, it's a joy to be back in the studio, and missed you guys last week. Well done on the podcast. You guys are pretty awesome, man. Y'all good content.
Yeah, thanks.
It's good.
Yeah, it was fun.
And today we're going to jump back on to our little series on spiritual warfare as we're working our way through Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 to 20. And today we're jumping into that part, verse 15 is readiness. Shoes fitted with the readiness of the gospel of peace. And so this is a big deal. I think I have a lot of questions. So I'm in the question asking phase right now of some things, and I'm asking lots of questions. So when I came to this text, I just came up with 5 questions, and let me jump into the text real quick. Finally, be strong in the Lord and the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you can stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. I cannot get past that there is a deeper wrestling than our tussling with each other, our tussling with humans, right? There's a lot going on. So we're not wrestling against flesh and blood. So what do we do about it? Well, since we're wrestling against the rulers and authorities and powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly places, he tells us to take up the armor of God. And what's that armor? It helps us stand in the evil day and stand firm. So we put on the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, and as shoes for our feet, the readiness given by the gospel of peace, right? And so the readiness given by the gospel of peace. So the shoe, the metaphor is the shoe, but the shoe in this armor that we don't fight against flesh and blood with, but against these forces of evil in the heavenly places, is readiness. So it's readiness. So here's my first question I'll toss out to us to discuss. What does readiness symbolize in this setting of spiritual warfare, and how does it relate to our mobility and stability in sharing the good news? Because Paul's going to come on later at the end, and he says, now I want you to pray that I can speak this gospel as I should. So it seems like the conflict is going to stop him from preaching this gospel. So he wants them to pray to put on the armor, and also pray for him that he will be able to speak this good news in all the circumstances that he finds himself in. So what does readiness teach us? What is it sharing with us in this spiritual conflict, and how does it relate to our mobility and stability in sharing the good news? What y'all think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think just he's describing footwear that helps us stand firm and move forward. It's a prepared posture, and obviously one of the most important pieces of a soldier's uniform, or just their bodies, is taking care of their feet. You're marching all the time. You're walking everywhere. You're on your feet all the day. So from a simple, basic standpoint, just keeping your feet from getting infections is a key component here. Because if you can't walk, you can't do anything.
Right.
So there's that piece. Then there's the just solidifying our firmness, our readiness, almost like a runner preparing to run out of the gate in a race.
Right.
It's not passive, it's active. So it's not a sitting around waiting. It's a ready. I'm ready to go right now, kind of in the battle moment. And then there's just a firmness. I've got my feet secured. Right. Ready to go based on the gospel of peace. Like I'm firm. That makes sense. And so it's a pretty neat picture there.
Yeah.
The Gospel Coalition, their commentary on that says, without a firm footing, a soldier will stumble, slip, or be pushed over. The readiness provided by the gospel keeps the believer planted.
Yeah, I was like thinking about what do you need to do to be ready? Is that right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't just enter in to something willy-nilly. A lot of times, most especially if you're doing something important, which I would think the most important thing is, spreading the gospel of peace, he calls it, which is the gospel of the kingdom. Like, you got to be prepared. And so what does that preparation look like? And man, there's so many things that's bouncing around in my head about how to prepare. And it's, and the one thing that we do know is the Holy Spirit equips us with everything that we need.
Right.
So I stopped short of thinking that a new believer can't do that and they have to wait until they are whatever it is that the preparation of checking the right box is able to do. You have the Holy Spirit when you're when you say you have faith and you believe in Jesus. He gifted you the Holy Spirit. You have everything that you need.
Right.
Yeah.
But in that preparation part, as you continue to work through your salvation with fear and trembling, there is a must that you have to lean into studying and reading the Word and understanding, doing discipleship, all the things that brings more maturity to your walk with Jesus. Because I think the more you get prepared, the more you're prepared for every situation that's in front of you. Mm-hmm. So I'm just thinking, like, through preparation, it's like there's so many different things that we could pinpoint to say, do this, do that, do this.
Well, I think that's a key component, what you said on key situation, because you think about when we get ready for the day, right? If it's raining outside, I'm not going to probably wear my flip-flops or my like brand new nice shoes if it's muddy, right? If I'm wearing a suit somewhere, I'm going to put on dress shoes that kind of go with
Unless
that.
you're a teenager.
Right. True.
Right.
If I'm going to, play football, I want to have cleats on my feet. If not, I'm going to be slipping everywhere. I won't be able to cut side to side. So we even just in our everyday lives, we match our shoes and our feet with what we are going through that day. Mm-hmm. And I think Paul's not doing anything different here than saying, hey, if you're going to get ready for battle, you need your feet fitted with the shoes of readiness, preparedness, that are, centered on the gospel of peace.
Here's an interesting distinction. The ESV translates having put on the readiness. So we're putting on readiness, and translates the phrase given by the gospel of peace, or translates the phrase in Greek as readiness is given by the gospel of peace. The CSB, and your feet sandaled with readiness for the gospel of peace. So here's a question. What is going on there that is a little bit distinct? The ESV highlights that readiness is a product of the gospel. The CSB is highlighting that readiness is for this gospel. So my question is, which one is it?
Well, that's so. If you go back, look at the reference back to Isaiah 52:7.
Yep.
Isaiah says, "How delightful on the mountains are the feet of the one who brings good news, who announces peace." There's that word again, and brings good news of happiness, which is translates into good. So bring good news of good.
Right.
Who announces salvation and says to Zion, "Your God reigns." So meaning he's standing on a mountain. So he starts first of all, right? So he's up on the mountaintop,
Right.
screaming at the top of your voice, "Our God reigns," or "Your God reigns." And reigns means he's the king, right? So you're proclaiming a king to a kingdom.
Right.
And so part of that is, I mean, I think it's when you're looking at both of those translations, it's are you prepared to be able to do what Isaiah is talking about here? And it goes multiple other places. Like you could follow the references in that.
Sure.
And in multiple places, he talks about proclamation of the kingdom,
Right.
and not just silent, not just like, yeah, Jesus is here.
Right.
It's Jesus is here.
Right.
The king is here, like screaming from the top of the mountains.
Right.
And it's like the preparation of your heart to be able to do that, and the excitement of that is part of that preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's both and.
Yeah.
And, Grudem in systematic theology says the gospel of peace brings both an inner confidence in God's sovereignty and an outward mission to reconcile others to Him.
Yeah.
So I think it's a both and. It's the readiness and that confidence comes from the gospel of peace, knowing it and being confident in fighting a battle that we already know the outcome of, and then also, but I still have to go to battle.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take this message with me to bring others to Him.
I thought it was interesting that he uses the word peace, the gospel of peace.
Right.
That is really cool.
You know, I thought about that too, and I was reading it, and I was like, okay, gospel of peace. Well, God's kingdom is the ultimate peace.
Right.
And so when we're talking about the gospel of peace, it is the gospel of the kingdom. Those things that we're talking about, and Isaiah points out a few of them: peace, happiness, salvation.
Right.
They're outcomes of God being reigning as king.
Right.
So it's not like you're having multiple gospels. It's one gospel, the gospel of the kingdom,
Right.
that has multiple outcomes of coming to fruition.
I think that, and that's a key component with the contrast of we were wrestling not against flesh and blood. So there's a wrestling, but this good news is putting to rest that wrestle.
Yeah.
And
oh
so-
man, and so like if you're in the wrestle, like you're longing for it.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
please come
Yeah.
tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
like, I understand now is like, you fully understand the longing for
Right.
Jesus's return, like the absolute longing for, like it makes you emotional.
It does. It really does. And I think there's a component here of clearly, like with a biblical theological lens, it's first peace with God. So the gospel reconciles us to the Father, so we have peace with God. And then that begins to break out. The kingdom of God begins to break out in creation, now peace with each other, and particularly manifested in the church, right? The church is the body of Christ. And so of all the places there should be peace breaking out, it should be this good news that preaches the peace of God with man to God, but then man to man.
Yeah.
And working itself out. And I keep finding this, like Romans, strive to be at peace with one another. You find this over and over and over again, that where the kingdom is breaking out, peace begins to break out among people.
Yeah.
And particularly for us in the context of the church. So peace is a gospel pursuit, but chaos is the anti-gospel. And so, man, it helps us shepherd well, because where is chaos breaking out? That's a wrestling not against flesh and blood. That's something interjecting. That's unseen forces of evil in the heavenly places whispering lies to people, and people believing lies, and usually, at least I'm finding this out pastorally, usually those lies are related to one another. Sometimes they're theological, and we believe lies about God, but sometimes it's believing lies about each other. It's like the begins to whisper untruths about somebody, or confuses my emotive reaction to something as the Holy Spirit telling me this person's a problem. right? And so the readiness of the gospel of peace is this readiness to apply the peace of the gospel in every place I set my feet, and in every relationship I have, is striving for peace. And so, man, that's a big deal here.
Yeah, blessed are the peacemakers.
Yeah,
Chaos was the word I was going to bring, because I think spiritual warfare, its goal is to produce chaos, confusion, anxiety.
yeah.
A
100%,
couple
man.
examples that come to mind. Number one, biblical example, just one of my favorite stories in the book we're about to teach through in Mark, of the storm and Jesus quieting the storm. Right, the storm created chaos. It created uncertainty, and Jesus calming the storm and staying peaceful eliminated that chaos. So peace offsets chaos. But I think just a personal example, I think back to when Addison was young, and we love going to the beach. We go every year, right? And when you're little, the crashing of the waves feels very chaotic, feels very unsafe. But when she'd reach up and grab my hand, she could trust that when she was connected to her dad, that chaos would not overcome her, and she was able to be calm. And that I could still feel that. You know, you have a memory that you can still kind of smell, feel, taste. Like, that's one of those ones where I just felt like the Lord speaking to me in that moment, reminding me, like, this is what it's like walking in the gospel of peace. It's, if I'm connected to the Father, it's good, then I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to go. And so that those remind me, peace though. I love that he uses that word, because it really is it counteracts chaos.
Yeah. All right, so this is kind of a contrast question. This is the one, most of this imagery that's pointing to tangible things in our spiritual warfare are aggressive. They're proactive. They absorb blows, or we're given blows. This is the one piece of the armor that is not aggressive. It is the gospel of peace. So what in that contrast, like what is happening in that contrast between the gospel of peace and readiness? So readiness is connected with the gospel of peace. And so I still think we need to dive a little more here. And I think this question is going to help us get there. What is the gospel of peace, and what is readiness? Why is readiness and the gospel of peace connected here to this peace part in contrast to the aggressive nature of the others? Is that making sense?
Yeah, it does.
Can I give a little historical context here, a little military context?
Sure.
On why the feet. I think that I say that because I think it will help lead us to the answer of that question a little bit. So the footwear of a Roman soldier was called either caligae or caligae, Caligae. It was a heavy-duty hobnailed sandal. Okay.
Stepped on his face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose.
I knew the Georgia fan would appreciate that.
Yeah,
so they
no idea what you just said.
Because you're a tech guy, man. Y'all don't get to step on anybody's face with a hobnail boot and break their nose.
Yeah, yellow jackets get stepped on. Sorry. No, so these sandals had nailed soles, which provided traction in combat. Right. And then the open design allowed cooling along with quick movement. Now, the soldiers there, they wore these all day and all night. They were never walked around barefoot. They weren't allowed to walk around barefoot, just like they always had to have their armor nearby, because the whole point of being ready for at any time they can attack. And so sometimes they included these greaves, which was like armor for their shins for added protection. But I think, so a lot of this part is Paul is using this component because we don't want to be caught off guard, and we don't want to be barefoot when the battle comes. Not knowing when it will come. And so while it may not be as of aggressive, it is still as necessary a piece of the whole armor as well for that battle.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
If you slip and fall, having an awesome sword and a shield really isn't helpful if you're laying on the ground and the guy's standing over you with a sword.
Yeah. So that gospel of peace is the foundation of our readiness, and it provides then the base off of which we can fight aggressively against the forces of evil. So this good news of peace provides a foundation of being ready to use the other components as well.
Huh.
So, and I think what helps me there is realize the gospel isn't passive, because I think there's a theological break with certain camps that sees the gospel only as a certain verses of Jesus that lend more toward passivity and pacifist,
Yeah.
as opposed to a full-orbed Genesis to Revelation view of the gospel establishes peace with God through Jesus Christ and peace with each other, but supplies a secure foundation off of which then we can aggressively advance the good news of the kingdom. For the kingdom of heaven suffers violent, and the violent take it by force. I don't fully understand everything the Lord means by that, but there's a component of aggressiveness to the rest of this that we're to move forward with the kingdom.
Yeah, blessed are the feet that bring
the
good
good
news.
Right.
It's not wait around and then somebody to come to me to tell them about it.
Yeah,
Just
that's
bring
right.
it. You have to. There's an action, an active part to that.
It's interesting that in Ephesians 6, Paul uses the word stand multiple times.
He does.
So we stand in peace, not panic. And when those trials, accusations come, when that confusion comes, I think it's we've talked about identity a few times with the armor of God. I think it's another reminder that our footing is and our identity is centered in a gospel that doesn't change. So even though those attacks are trying to get us to change who we are, change what we believe, or question those things, being ready, standing firm in that readiness, on that peace that never changes, is something that's important there.
One thing, and that goes back to even how God wove that into stories. When you look at David and Goliath,
Right.
David ran to the battlefront.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't wait for the battlefront to come to him.
That's right.
He ran to it. And I think that goes back to the active passive part. It was like, and goes into even what Isaiah is saying in 52:7 was like, he's running on top of the mountain to scream out that the kingdom is here. And so there's and I think we tend to sit and wait and in protection, like protection mode.
Right.
Like, put on all the armor because it protects me. What this says to me is there's a component that I got to go after it.
Yeah.
You got to get after,
Yeah.
the evil forces.
Yeah.
You don't wait on them to come to you, get after it.
Yeah.
And to do that is to spread the news of the peace of the
Right.
gospel, right? So now you're destroying the footholds of Satan by bringing that good news to people. You're not allowing him to spread it out and waiting on him to come to you to stop him.
Right.
You're stopping him by spreading.
Yeah. So the gospel doesn't only protect us; it propels us in a way forward.
And that requires us in this. The readiness comes from a trust in what the gospel has done and what the other components of this armor are to do as well.
Yeah.
So that piece then provides a framework off of which we can launch and go.
Yeah.
It's hard outside of peace to execute other things.
Yeah. I'm going into one just popped into my mind. He says, take nothing with you, go into the city, and those that you find peace, stay there.
Yeah.
Right. But if they don't give you your peace, move on.
Yeah.
And so thinking about that, what's the relation there? Because that was Jesus sending them out,
Yeah.
so
Find a person of peace, stay there with them, and let your peace dwell with them too.
yeah.
If not, then remove your peace from them. And that's an interesting, because I feel like there's a component of this peace that is that physical, or is that like some spiritual thing we have where what is that?
Yeah.
Because this issue of peace versus chaos is
Well, he
happening.
said not to stay with them, so it's got to be physical too.
It's got to be. There's a physical component, and there's a piece too of a spiritual piece to set on. And there's because this thing is, we're not just wrestling against flesh and blood, but we are wrestling, and it's this other component too. So peace is this internal as well as this external component too, where the two things can be true at one time. I can be internally completely at rest while outside I am making war.
Yeah.
And I can be at rest on the outside in appearance, but inside I'm chaotic. And so this gospel of peace, this promise of peace, seems to be so transformational that on the inside I'm at rest, and on the outside I can still be at rest and I can be in conflict at the same time.
Yeah.
And thus I'm ready. Thus the readiness. And to me, that's the epitome of readiness. It's not all things being perfect. It's I am ready because I am so internally well, that I'm ready for whatever's happening on the outside.
Yeah.
Not shaken.
And that implies a level of self-control there too. Of I might be waging war, but because I'm at peace,
Right.
I can wage war effectively, strategically. Not because you can be a warrior in chaos and fight. You can also be under control.
Absolutely.
So,
All right, third question. What does this mean practically in everyday life in regard to our evangelism and maybe our trials, our suffering? What can we practically do to embody the readiness of this gospel of peace, evangelistically and in suffering?
I have 5 ways.
You got
Point
5
one.
ways. Yeah.
I felt like if we were doing a podcast on readiness, I should be ready.
Yeah. Oh.
Look at
So-
you.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that was a jab.
That wasn't a jab.
Yeah,
that
it
was
like,
John.
oh, John never studies.
No, that one time you did.
I did one time.
Yeah, that one.
I
Even
love
you
you
brought your
said-
computer.
I have read.
That wasn't meant to be a jab, by the way. I was just meant.
No,
like,
it totally was.
That
I
that
take
one,
it.
That one time you prepared, you remember?
You remember that one time?
Remember?
You remember?
Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry, man. Go with your 5
That was
ways.
one of your. That was a really good episode too.
Yeah, it was a really good episode. Hey, I think we're having a great episode right
think
now.
so,
We
too.
are.
Yeah.
We are. And
Yeah.
you have the word of God, and that's
Yeah,
all you
we're
need.
battling right now. Put on your shoes.
It's also a battle of wits right now.
Yeah, we'll go back and forth and get all kind of jokes.
That's
We'll
awesome.
digress very well.
I just off the top of my head came up with 5 thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Off
Is
the
that
top
better?
of your
Off
head.
the top of your head, yeah,
just
dude. Let's hear 'em.
Not looking down at them
No,
at all.
don't read them.
No.
So number 1, just preaching the gospel to yourself daily and reminding ourselves you're at peace with God. I think just there's so many knowns, but we still need to repeat them and remind ourselves of them daily. And Paul preaches on that. Number 2, rest in the finished work of Christ. So we're not fighting for victory; we fight from victory. And I think that's a different mindset when we're fighting this battle. Excuse me. Number 3, speak the gospel into fearful places, speaking peace over our home, our mind, our relationships, as well as with others in gospel conversations as well, with strangers, with anyone. Number 4, being ready to share the gospel. I think that the shoes of readiness and the gospel piece, it's a reminder that like studying the word and our theology and our learning matters, right? It's not simply just growing our head knowledge. It's preparing us as part of that being ready. So being ready to share the gospel, as Romans 1:16, it's the power of God for salvation. And then 5 and 5th, training in gospel-centered thinking. So knowing what the gospel is, know what it isn't, and then standing on truth.
That's good. I think knowing what it is and isn't super important. One of the things I'm learning about spiritual warfare is that ignorance is a void that's going to be filled. The question is, will it be filled with truth or will it be filled with a lie that comes from a source on the outside and an idea or a thought planted, assimilated, and filling that void? So ignorance is never appropriate. It doesn't matter what it is. I think all knowledge that can be acquired ought to be sought out as best we possibly can. Otherwise, like if I don't have the knowledge of gravity, it's hard to imagine. This is why this is stupid, but just go with me here for a second. If I don't have the
This should
knowledge
be
of
fun.
gravity and I hear someone say, hey, you can fly, I believe I can fly.
Sing it.
I believe I can touch the sky. And I crawl up on top of this building and spring off it. I operated with knowledge. It was just wrong knowledge. And so my ignorance of gravity led me to assimilate false information, which is going to lead to my hurt
Your death.
or my death, right? And so knowledge, knowing the truth is essential here. And so there's a component to this being ready, which means ready with the right information and then the capacity to apply it. It's never just that, because I'm applying my knowledge when I jump off this building. It's just and the application may be solid. I might have sprung like a champion. Like the calves and the quads just operated at full capacity, and I got a good leap. but that leap is applied to really bad information, and I'm going to splat hard because 210 pounds
Bumbles
falls
bounce.
pretty. That's right, man. But so it's got to be, the application has to be good, but I have to be applying truth.
Yeah,
So-
and the truth.
The truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Fact.
because then you get into the conversation. Then, well, what is truth?
Yeah. Pilate.
Yeah,
Hey, Jesus, what is truth?
right.
This is where the peace component comes in handy as well, and why it's so important. And we talk about this a lot in our TBRI trainings. You know, when if your brain is in chaos and is in fight, flight, or freeze, it's hard to be able to distinguish between truth, or you can't even process things because it's just strictly survival.
Yeah.
And so the gospel of peace, meaning I don't have to worry about my survival, and being rooted in a situation of peace, mind, soul, body, all of that allows for the capacity for being able to take things that are true and not true, and being able to distinguish between them and line them up against his word and his truth, and be able to make those calls. So it's the knowledge is important, but also the actual capacity through that peace to be able to do that is important.
Yeah, tying it back to like, part of that is taking chaos and making order, right?
Yeah.
Because Jesus said, "Go and heal, and then say to them that the kingdom of God has come near to you." So there's a we are to bring the peace, which means we're bringing order to something that's in chaos.
Yeah.
And therefore, when we bring order, it shows and reveals the gospel of peace, because peace equals order. Peace doesn't equal chaos; it equals order.
That's good. All right, so here's my final question. How does this readiness, stemming from or being prepared by the gospel of peace, empower us daily to be proactive in the exercise of the faith? How does readiness empower proactive faith? I would say one of the things it does is it removes timidity. I think if we're in the truth and we're ready, I'm going to be less timid. I'm going to be less afraid to make a mistake. And I don't mean sin, but I mean less afraid to go, should I share the gospel or shouldn't I share the gospel? Well, take the shot, man.
Yeah.
Take the shot. It might not be the wrong time. It might be offensive to everybody in the room but you, but by God, take the shot. So if I'm ready with this good news of peace, and I'm sitting in this place where I'm at rest and peace, and maybe I don't have a word from the Lord. I haven't been given active instruction. Hey, share the gospel now. But it's just like, okay, by gosh, let's go.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And so I think a proactive way is the timidity is removed. The should I or shouldn't I is irrelevant. It's like, I'm alive. We're here. They're going to hell. I'm not, by God's grace. I need to tell y'all how. And so timidity gone. So I think readiness removes timidity.
Yeah, I like that.
Piper says the gospel is the peace of God that gives you stability when Satan tries to shove you over. And I just love that.
Say that again?
Good.
The gospel is the peace of God that gives you stability when Satan tries to shove you over.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think about that like this. And my high school baseball team, you ever heard of tabletopping?
No.
It's where like one guy would go like sneak up behind somebody and get on all fours, and the guy in front of him would push him over. You follow
Booger
him?
games.
Yeah, Burger
So
Booger
just because I'm standing doesn't mean I'm not susceptible to falling
that's
over
pretty
or for
good,
the
yeah.
attack. But when I'm standing firm and standing in confidence, as like you mentioned, I'm standing on that peace, then I'm aware. And so I'm aware of the attacks, but I'm also immovable,
Yeah.
and I cannot be knocked over.
Yeah. We're
Unless-
supposed to be on the offensive.
We are. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's so much in our Christian culture that says be defensive.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we're on the offense.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And we're already on the victor's side.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Go.
what are we afraid of goes back to the timidity part. What are you afraid of?
Right.
And I think that part of the deception of what Satan does to help top us over is to say, just wait, you don't need to go forward, or you don't need to do that. He brings the timidity back into the question of our brains and deceives us to thinking, oh, okay, well, I'll just wait till you come. Well, he's like, cool, you stay there.
Right.
No threat to me.
timidity is a function of fear. And so the gospel of peace has removed, needs to have the removal of fear. Because perfect love, the Apostle John says, casts out fear. So I'm not walking, and I don't mean Proverbs 1:7, fear the Lord fear. I mean the terror of eternal loss of some sort. And by the way, I think that's a podcast in the future of teasing out fear and making sense of fear. When the Bible tells us not to fear, but then tells us to fear, it's like, well, which one is it?
Yeah.
I think that's a worthy discussion. And so I think timidity is a function of fear. And if I'm stable in this gospel of peace, then I have the perfect love of God applied to me with no fear. And so therefore, since I have nothing eternal to fear, I'm like, man, let's roll. And let's absolutely get after it.
How many
You
times?
said tabletoping, by the way. I had this vision of Tommy Boy teaching Rob Lowe's character how to cow tip. He goes belly option on two.
You go between the udders and the shoulders.
Yeah, between the udder and the shoulder.
Nothing but spiritually strong movies here.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Theology in the
absolutely.
Dirt.
Yeah. Rescue
How
me.
many times have you, like in a sporting event, and this happens a lot in football, do you hear somebody say the phrase, you coach or you play to win, you don't coach to not lose, or you don't play to not lose. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times we say, oh, that coach was timid. He was coaching not to lose as opposed to coaching to win.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all the national championship last night, but there was a point where it was like 4th and 5. And
I was saying, take the points.
already
Dude,
had
that was insane.
yeah, and
It was.
and I was like, that's about as big an example in the biggest stage of coaching to win, knowing that, hey, my defense has struggled. And how many NFL games they punt with 2 minutes left? We'll get the ball back. You got to stop them all day, right? It's kind of just going by the motions. And I know I hate to use a bunch of sport examples, but I think that really applies here. It's because you're right. We have zero reason to enter warfare on the defense and to receive spiritual warfare as a not just, I just don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Because we've already got the wins.
And man, I think that, and I like the idea of the podcast on fear, because it's really easy for us to talk about, oh, don't fear, when we're sitting in United States of America,
Right.
in our podcast office, and say, don't fear.
Or
Okay,
everything's going good for you right now.
Yeah,
Like, there's no suffering. It's
Yeah.
like there's the outcome of some decision isn't hanging in the balance for you right now
Yeah.
at this moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's easy to
yeah.
say, oh, yeah, don't fear.
Yeah.
But, well, what happens in the next hour if this doesn't go my way?
Yeah.
And I'm like freaking terrified,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I just think that's
Yeah.
normal.
It is. Yeah, it is normal. And I'm foolish enough to believe that it doesn't have to be. And I think there's a place like when Paul, so I think contentment and peace are cousins somehow.
Yeah.
Paul said, I have learned the secret of being content.
Yeah.
And this is where he says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. What he meant by that was Jesus will supply what I need in the moment, but there's a plugged inness to that peace, that gospel of peace, and a readiness to Paul that he lived with that I want so bad. And
But I don't want to go through what God put him through just so he can get there.
No, we've been pretty close. The only thing is we hadn't been
Prison,
shipwrecked.
Yeah, prison, shipwrecked, blind.
I feel like I've been flogged 40 lashes minus one the past 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. There's
I'm like,
a lot of that.
The only
But
thing
it's like
I'm
every time
missing-
I'm like, Lord, just keep teaching me. I was like,
yeah, I don't mean that when I ask that. My Lord,
I was like,
stop teaching me. I'm good for
or
a
just
while.
be gentle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Lord,
just
teach me, but let it just be words.
just be gentle.
Yeah, can I just spend the next several years teaching others?
Because
about what
I
did?
think because I
Yeah.
still you've
Yeah.
been through. I've been through.
Yeah.
We've been through that.
Been through that, right?
And I think that, and I'm still not have
Right.
that contentment
Right.
part. I'm still learning that, and it's like I know it's in the back of my head. And I'm like, I mean, Maggie's going to teach me again.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to be taught again.
Yeah.
But you do,
Yeah.
because man, in that contentment is exactly what you're saying. I think you walk through that with no fear.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
I think you've reached that when you get older.
I think so. I think
don't
some
know.
of it
Maybe
has
I'm
to
wrong.
do.
I have
think
no
some
idea.
of you don't know how it is to be old.
getting there. They're feeling it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're about to experience soon your first fall off a cliff. It'll be physical or something's going to happen.
Welcome.
Menopause.
Yeah.
Menopause. I think it has to.
Don't. Oh, that'd be bad, man. You're asking.
That would be horrible.
Yeah.
I think there's a component to it. This gospel of peace comes with embracing the moment and not looking ahead to outcomes or trying to control them.
Yeah.
I think if I can learn to live, and Jesus, this is Matthew 6. Like we went through this not too long ago when we did Matthew 6 here on the podcast. There's a component to Jesus says tomorrow's enough trouble of its own.
Yeah.
So if I can live in the moment, not trying to control the outcomes of tomorrow, that there's something about that deals a death blow to fear. And the gospel of peace, because the gospel teaches me, well, if Matthew 6 is true, that's a piece of it. Stay in this moment, boys. Stay right here. Stay right here with me. Don't miss right now for tomorrow. Stay right here. And that just feels so irresponsible. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with that conflict, because here's Paul telling us, here's how you fight this battle: readiness, the gospel of peace. All right? So be at peace and I'm ready. Yes. Okay. That doesn't feel right. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a tension here on like, will I cut loose enough to trust the Lord with this? And
they go through all the questions that society teaches us about preparation, like
right.
Retirement. I mean, all those things that people, I've had plenty of conversations around, and it's like, because part of me, I go through phases of that. When I say that, it's like I'm not consistent.
Right.
There's no consistency there when it comes to that. I'm living every moment. I'm living the moment right now.
Yeah.
But in about 5 minutes from now, I'm going to be thinking 5 years from now and loathing where I'm not at. Right.
Right.
And it's like, how do you get into that? And that's the question that I am on repeat now is, how do you get in that consistency of just being in the moment and being joyful about it, but at the same time not being stupid about the future?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do. Absolutely. Well, I think we're getting to the place where we probably need to get in some Hayes takeaways.
Yeah, a lot more podcast opportunities.
Yeah, there is. So lead us into the end with some Hayes takeaways.
All right, Hayes takeaways. Number 1, peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of confidence. You are in a war, but your footing is stable because Jesus has already won. Number 2, if you don't have gospel footing, you'll slip under pressure. Emotional hype, spiritual highs, or even surface-level theology won't hold when Satan attacks. Number 3, you're not just called to stand, you're sent to go. Gospel shoes are made for movement. So where will you bring his peace this week? Number 4, readiness isn't a personality, it's a posture. So you may not feel bold, but if the gospel lives in you, you're ready to stand. And finally, number 5, when everything shakes, the gospel keeps you steady. Remember, the belt of truth holds everything together. The breastplate of righteousness guards your heart, and your feet, grounded in gospel peace, keep you from falling. So stand firm, stay laced, and walk in peace.
Put on those spiritual hobnail boots, baby.
Stay laced.
Stay laced.
You just gave Nike their next slogan.
You did. That's pretty good.
I'll only take 15%.
Yeah.
That should be
Stay
the
laced.
Falcon. We need to get rid of Rise Up and go stay laced.
Yeah, I think they already said they're getting rid of that.
They should.
Are they? Matty Ice?
Matty Ice would get set.
Yeah.
He's yelling at Julio. That's the one right there.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just left us with good stuff and I wrecked it.
No, you did good.
Yeah, you
We're
did
finishing good.
Yeah.
Well done,
Thank you,
man.
man.
Hey, thank you
stuff.
guys for being with us on this journey. Thanks for being part of Theology in the Dirt. Thanks for your questions. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, send us an email, theologyinthedirt@gmail.com, and you can ask questions. We appreciate that, and it gives us content to talk to you about. See us at church. If you attend Three Rivers Church, share with us your thoughts and questions and all that good stuff. Don't forget, go to the merch store, buy some cool things. Share the podcast, give us a 5-star rating. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good day. See you next time. Out.